Hola, muy buenas tardes para todos y bienvenidos a nuestra sesión de información con la Universidad de Lincoln de Nueva Zelanda. Es un gusto tenerlos aquí con nosotros. Gracias por el tiempo, gracias por el espacio para estudiar y descubrir qué hace especial a la Universidad de Lincoln. Hoy tenemos dos invitados súper especiales. Tenemos a Julian Becker, que es International Manager, y tenemos a Patrick Young, también International Manager de la Universidad de Lincoln. Muchísimas gracias a Patrick y a Julian por estar aquí con nosotros, por aceptar esta invitación. En un momento más voy a dar paso a ellos dos para que inicien con la presentación sobre la universidad, sus programas, las becas, los requisitos de admisión y otros valores agregados importantísimos de esta universidad. Al final de la presentación vamos a tener un espacio para Q&A, así que vayan dejándonos sus preguntas a través de la ventana de chat o levanten la mano si ustedes desean interactuar de manera directa, practicar su inglés, o si desean hacer la pregunta en vivo en español y que yo la traduzca, también lo podemos hacer. Como se sientan más cómodos lo vamos a manejar. Así que bueno, sin más que agregar, le doy el paso a Julian and Patrick. Julian and Patrick, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us this afternoon, morning in New Zealand. Appreciate you guys' time and the presentation that you are about to conduct. So you can get started now. Thank you.
No, thank you, David, and thank you for putting this together today. And look, welcome everybody. It's great to be kind of, I suppose, back in Colombia in some sense, and talking to potential agents interested in representing Lincoln University. Now, with my presentation and Patrick this morning, or this afternoon your time, I'm just going to give a brief introduction in New Zealand, Christchurch, our beautiful city. Then I'm just going to talk a little bit about the university. Patrick will then talk a little bit about our English language program and some of our programs. And then we're just going to finish up and talk about some of the fees and scholarships. We'll play a video probably about the middle of the presentation, just to give you a sort of a look and feel about the Lincoln University campus. And we'll be open for questions at the end. So I'm very much looking forward to having some question time with you guys at the conclusion of this presentation. So without further ado, I'll get started. Okay, there we go. I've got to go there. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know, look, I'm assuming you do know, but you see the map there on the right of New Zealand. Christchurch City is located on the east coast of the South Island. Christchurch is the second largest city in New Zealand. Now, we have a population of only around about 400,000 people. And just to put it into perspective, New Zealand has a population of around 5 million people. So we are the second largest. I think Auckland is the largest city, and that is around about 1.7 million, and that's up at the top of the North Island there. So we're the second largest city and the largest city in the South Island. This is just a beautiful shot, which is probably about a 20-minute drive from the centre of the city in Christchurch, overlooking down towards our Littleton Harbour. And I think this is sort of, this picture really kind of showcases what the South Island and what Christchurch is all about, is that natural beauty. And I think what a lot of students that are attracted to coming to our part of New Zealand are those students that are very much interested in the great outdoors, like exploring, hiking, outdoor recreation is very much an attraction for many students that do come our way, apart from study, of course. So the Christchurch City, as I said before, second largest city. There's just some pictures of our city, where it is known as New Zealand's newest city. So there's been a lot of a major rebuild within the centre, the infrastructure of the city. And as you can see there, there's kind of a mixture of old and new, but I think we're quite lucky over the last 10 years. There's been quite a significant rebuild of buildings in the Christchurch City, and it's still undergoing. But I think it creates a great environment for students to hang out and enjoy and relax during their time outside of study. Just to let you know, the Lincoln University campus is around about a 25-minute drive from the centre of the city, We're on the edge of the city boundary in a small area called Lincoln. Now, Lincoln University, and this is a picture of our Ivy Hall, which is the original building of the university. So Lincoln University was established back in 1878. So we have over 140 years history as an educational provider. We are New Zealand's smallest university. We have a student population of around 3,500. Now, before the earthquakes, the international student proportion was around about 42–43% of all students on campus. So we had the highest proportion of international students. And I also just want to mention that all the New Zealand universities are government owned. There is no private university in New Zealand. So you can see there on the left, I think, yes, we are small, but how do we compare? And I think it's important that we just highlight our rankings, our international rankings. In the QS rankings, which is the QS World University Rankings, for 2022, we're ranked at 372 in the world. I think that's quite a feat for a small university, and I think that is sort of signified by the next one is the 15th ranking in the QS rankings small university category. So that is defined as, the category is defined all universities that have a student population of less than 5,000. So it's really comparing apples with apples. We're a small university. When you compare us to large universities, it's not really fair in terms of the resources, in terms of the student body and the research output. But when you look at us on like apple for apples, comparable, we're actually ranked number 15 in the world in terms of small universities. And I think that's quite a feat. Also in the QS rankings, we're ranked in the top 100 for agriculture, in the subject of agriculture. We're also a member of the EuroLeague of Life Sciences, which is an elite life science university network in Europe. We are the Australasian partner. Like Cornell University was the Americas partner, and China Agricultural University was the Asia partner. So there's only 3 international partners, and we were one of them, with alongside another 8 or 9 European partners. So we have a 5-star ranking in the QS in terms of employability, facilities, internationalization, inclusiveness, and teaching and research. So we're quite proud of the international ranking that we've achieved, and we actually rank higher than 2 other New Zealand universities, University of Waikato and the AUT, the Auckland University of Technology. So we rank higher than both of these universities that are significantly larger than us in the QS rankings. So again, just going over some key highlights and quick facts about Lincoln. So you can see there on the right, we've got 13 research centres. So we're very much research intensive university. We've got quite a high proportion of postgraduate student body. We have 8 farms. Again, it moves back to our agricultural sort of heritage. We will talk more about our programs, but we started off as an agricultural college, and we still have 8 farms right across New Zealand. And I think we have over 4,000 hectares of farmland that is used for predominantly for research by students, and then feeding that research back into the industry as well. We have a 6% higher graduate employment rate, and I think that's really the kind of courses that we teach at Lincoln are very much aligned to the New Zealand economy. So graduates don't have too much problem in terms of getting employment once they graduate from Lincoln. We have strong networks with our industry partners, and they're well aware of the type of quality that Lincoln graduates achieve once they finish their course. So the program themes, and I'm just going to touch on this one. in this slide here, we talk about our 3 faculties. So we have Faculty of Agriculture and Life Sciences, Faculty of Agribusiness and Commerce, and Environmental Society and Design. Then 1 division, which is our University Studies and English Language division. Now, Patrick's going to talk very shortly, and starting with English language, but I just want to mention there, all of these themed areas of study that you can see under each of the faculties, we can deliver Bachelor right through to PhD, so the PhD level. So we will show a little bit more about our programs later in the presentation, but just to be aware that even though we're quite narrow in terms of breadth of programs, we're very deep in that everything that we do teach, we teach from Bachelor through to postgraduate diploma, through to masters, and through to PhD. So look, I'm just going to pass you over to Patrick, who's just going to, I think, share a video with us and talk a little bit about English language and a few other things. Okay, Patrick.
Right, thank you, Julian. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Patrick. So just before I go into, talk about the English language programs, I'm just going to quickly show you a video of our campus. So that should give you a sort of a quick overview of what the campus looks like and some of the key points from the university. So hopefully you can hear. I'll just play this video now. Yep.
Lincoln University's Tehora Campus is nestled in the heart of New Zealand's South Island, with 58 hectares of park-like grounds providing a safe, all-inclusive environment. It's the beating heart of one of the world's highest-ranked small universities. Around 600 students live on campus each year, and we have 6 halls of residence, as well as flatting complexes and some houses. Students who choose catered accommodation dine at Taketa Ika Food and Function Centre, which also houses Mrs. O's, where you can grab a coffee and lunch, as well as a beer. The grounded student space is the social hub of campus, a vibrant spot where you can meet friends, have a snack, or visit Lusa to use their services. Our sporting grounds host top quality sport, as well as our annual garden party. Your student levy includes a membership to access classes and fantastic gym facilities at the nearby recreation centre. Students with a range of interests and backgrounds will find clubs and associations to meet their needs. Te Whare Whakakotahi is the cultural home of our Māori and Pacifica students. The Ivy Library, a state-of-the-art facility encased in a heritage facade which dates from the first days of Lincoln, offers an extensive collection, as well as computer access, meeting rooms, and a selection of teaching services on offer to help with your studies. We have a range of teaching spaces, from small rooms to large lecture theatres, with new facilities under construction to provide an even better campus experience. We hope you enjoyed your quick virtual tour. Book a real-life tour to find out more about the campus that generations of former students fondly look back on as they remember their Lincoln days.
Right, so so that's a quick virtual tour of campus, so you can see all the facilities and all the fun activities that we organize for our students throughout the year. So yeah, as Julian has mentioned, these are our program themes. So we have the 3 main faculties: agriculture, life science, agribusiness, and environment, society, and design, and also a university studies and English language division. So we're not going to go through all of these program in details, but what I would like to talk about is the English language division of the university, because we believe a lot of your students might have to start off with the English language program first before they move on to the academic program. So our English language studies. So first of all, and I guess it's one of the sort of the most key selling point is that our English language division is part of the university. So when your students are enrolled with our English language program, they are actually treated as a university student. So they're not studying in like a private English language school from a different school. So they're basically in the university, they will get to use all the university facilities while they're studying their English language program. And this program is we offer a flexible non-IELTS pathway. So if your students don't have IELTS or they don't have enough IELTS, they will be able to come into our English language program first. And when they finish the program, they will be able to pathway onto, say, master's or PhD without sitting IELTS again, okay, or without sitting any other English language test. So they will only need to do our internal English test, and then if they pass the test, then they can move on to the next program. So our English language program works in a 4-week module system. So when your students enrolled for our English program, they have to study for a minimum of 12 weeks, which is the same as 3 modules. And we will do a test or different tests in each 4-week module. So every month they will be tested. And then when they get the test, and then when they get the results and achieve the requirement for the next, for the English language level for the next program, they will be able to exit the English language program early and then move on to the next academic program. So for example, if they enroll for 12 weeks and then after, say, 8 weeks, they have achieved the required level, then they can move on to the next program, and then they will be able to transfer the remaining fees for the 4 weeks to the next program. So it is very flexible. So you are not tied into, to the whole 12 weeks or 16 weeks or whatever. Whenever you meet the requirement, you will be able to move on to the next program. And we do have intakes almost every month. It's usually at the beginning or the middle of the month. Yeah. And then most of the classes are small class size. So we do have about, say, 12 to 15 students maximum per class. And then we have students coming from over 20 different countries. And one thing that I want to mention is about a pathway visa. Okay, so this is something that Immigration New Zealand offers for students who have entered a pathway program. So for example, if your students are going to start an English language program and then later on moving on to, say, master's, 1 year or 2 years master's program, then they will be able to apply for a pathway visa that would cover the duration of the English language program and the master's program. So say, for both programs. And they will only need to pay fees for the first program. Okay, so they don't need to pay fees for the whole, EAP, English language and masters. So they only have to pay the English program, and they will get a 3 years visa. Okay, so this is this will save a lot of money for the students. Otherwise they have to reapply for visa every year for every 6 months. And it's a lot easier for them to be on a pathway visa. And it applies to other programs as well. So if a student, starting English language, and then moving on to bachelor degree, they can get 1 visa for the whole duration. Or English language plus PhD, they can do the same. Okay. And here just a quick example of our English language timetable. So usually they would do Monday to Friday, about 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock every day, except for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday afternoon, we've got this individual study and teacher support. So basically there are no classes during those times, but the teachers are available for the students if the students wants to ask questions, or they want to catch up with the teachers about their assignments or anything. So basically those are self-study times, and the teachers will be available for the students if need to. And then basically in our English language program, we teach academic English. So it will be around, academic writing, listening, speaking, vocabulary, research skills. This is quite a big part of our academic English language program. And writing, grammar, etc. Okay. Now, because of COVID, because of the pandemic, we have started offering English language program online since May last year. So students will be able to, since you can't come to New Zealand at the moment, you will be able to start English language online first if you want to, and then you can meet the English language level in your home country before coming to New Zealand. So we do have, and the program basically is the same. So it's academic English writing, academic reading, and report writing. And that will allow you to meet the English language requirement and then prepare for your study in 2022 or later. Now, each week there will be 15 live Zoom sessions. So sort of like this, but more interactive with our students, and in each subject there will be about 3 live stream sessions per week. Okay. Now moving on to bachelor degrees. This is just a quick overview of all of our bachelor degrees that we have on at Lincoln. And you can see that the ones in purple, that means these are the bachelor degrees with a compulsory practical work or industry-based projects component. So that means the students will have to, like during the degree, they will have to work in a particular company or in a farm or in a vineyard for a set amount of time before they can graduate. So this will give them a lot of the hands-on and practical work experience before graduating. And a lot of students actually manage to find their first job from these practical work experience. So it is a very good experience for the students to be in. Students will have to find these practical work by themselves, but we do have a practical work office on campus. We've got staff who will be able to support the students. Basically, we've got connections with the industries from these programs. So we will be able to put all the job opportunities online, and then students will have to go online and then look at the jobs and then apply for the job. So usually there are no problems for the students to find that practical work in this project during the bachelor degree studies. Now, most of the degrees are 3 years in New Zealand, except for the ones with the asterisks, with the stars here. So these are 4 years programs, okay, 4-year study programs. Otherwise, they're all 3 years bachelor degree programs. Okay, so I'll just move on here from bachelor. So yes, intakes, just a quick, just let you know that we've got 3 intakes at Lincoln. We've got semester 1, semester 2, and summer school. Now, our biggest intake, our 2 main intakes are semester 1 and semester 2. And semester 1 is usually our biggest intake from February to June. And semester 2 starts in July to November. Now, we also have a summer school that runs from November to February. Now, summer school is usually for students to, usually mainly for bachelor students to, catch up on credits. They'll be able to pick up maybe 1 or 2 papers during the summer holidays. But we also do have some bachelor degrees and some of our taught master's degree that are starting in November. Now, the advantage of starting in November is that they will be able to sort of use our November summer holiday to kickstart a program. So you will be able to finish some of the programs faster than other students who may have started their program in semester 1 or semester 2. Okay, and at the bottom here, we do have also PhD applicants. So they will, for PhD applicants, they can start basically any month during the year, as long as they have a mutual agreement with their supervisor. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, so I think from here, I might just pass back on to Julian, and then he will be able to talk to you a bit more about our postgraduate programs. Thank you, Julian.
No, thanks, Patrick. Sorry, guys, I'm not the best at all this IT stuff. Okay, so yeah, just talking a little bit, because I think this is really where the meat is the postgraduate area. And I know with our experience with Colombian students have predominantly been interested in postgraduate programs. Currently, if I can just say on campus, we've only got a couple of Colombian students, and I think it's in Masters and PhD. And traditionally, we haven't hosted too many Colombian students. We've only had a couple of students each year. So, you know, the reason why we've partnered up with MSM, and we're looking to try and grow the market in the long term. So, just going back to our postgraduate pathways. So, we start with, after you finished a bachelor degree, we start with a 1-year graduate diploma. Let's not worry about postgraduate certificates, because we define a certificate as 1 semester, and a 1 semester program is not strong enough to get post-study work rights. So postgraduate diploma, 2 semester program, level 8, NZQA level 8, which means it deems it okay for post-study work rights of up to 3 years at present. And then we have our 3 semester taught masters, again that's level 9, and that again qualifies for the post-study work rights visa. And then we get into our 2-year research masters, again level 9, which follows into level 10, which is our PhD degree. Now look, if a student only holds a bachelor degree and is seriously thinking about going into a PhD, they really need to go down the research masters pathway. If they go through the taught master, they still would need some kind of research before we would consider them for entry to a PhD program. So this is just showing the pathways and the levels and how they all relate. And I think particularly with this market, I think we should be aiming for the sort of the taught masters and obviously the PhD program. Maybe some students who have lower grades, maybe more the graduate diploma. But yeah, that's how I kind of, my thinking in terms of the South American market from our experience over the last 5 or 10 years in which we've seen students come through. So I'll just move along. So really, here we go is just a summary of all those levels of programs there. And I think what's important to mention there also is around the entry requirements. So really, at Lincoln, we're really interested in the bachelor degree. We're really interested in the last year of study in terms of their GPA, not necessarily the overall GPA for the degree, but the last year of study. So as you can see there, we're looking for a postgraduate diploma. We're looking for around what we call a B- or a 65 to 69% GPA. So it's really critical when you're submitting documentation that we have a good copy of the marking of the the marking schedule for that university that outlines what is a B, what is an A, what is a C, etc. And then again, you can see with the taught master's degree, we're looking at 70%, or around about what we call a B average. And again, the research masters is again the same as the taught masters. Also note, for all of our postgraduate programs that you can see on the screen there, the English language requirement is equivalent to a 6.5 IELTS. I think we are also an IBT TOEFL test. You're looking around about an overall score of 80 for that. And we also accept Pearson's and other tests as well. So I'm just going to move along. I'm just wary of time because I'd like the opportunity to have some questions. So I thought with the Talk Masters we'd just highlight these are the Talk Masters that we offer at Lincoln. Now, if I can talk about Masters of Business and Finance and Masters of Business and Global Management and Marketing, both of these qualifications, you don't necessarily need to have relevancy in your undergraduate bachelor degree. So you could be studying from, say, nursing, you could be studying from the sciences and like to come and study business. As long as you've got a good GPA from your bachelor degree, as I discussed in the previous slide, then you could get entry directly into our Masters of Business program. There is no need to have the relevancy in business. And also highlighting, which I think is probably the most popular that we find from South America, is our Masters of Management and Agribusiness. And really, it is just really the business of agriculture. So you're still applying the same theories in terms of marketing, in terms of management, in terms of finance. You still apply that same theory, but the case study is based on an agricultural-based business. And given that New Zealand's economy is based on agriculture and our largest companies in New Zealand are agribusiness companies, it makes sense. So countries that are high food producers tend to have their big companies are termed agribusiness companies, like in Brazil, and I'm assuming the same is still in Colombia as well, where you're quite reliant on food production and export. So agribusiness is quite relevant to the region, and New Zealand, and particularly Lincoln, really specialises in that agribusiness space. Also, just a wee mention about wine and viticulture. So at our bachelor level, we have our own vineyard on campus, our own winery. Students learn how to grow grapes and make wine, and we take that a little bit further at the master's level. So you could have a science degree in the food area that may allow you to come into our Masters of Wine and Viticulture program. And there's very good job prospects in New Zealand in the wine industry for graduates. So just highlighting there, we also have a FinTech course that's just being approved at the moment, and we will update everybody about that. And our Masters of Professional Accounting is endorsed by CPA Australia. It's the only Masters of Professional Accounting in New Zealand that has a CPA endorsement. So the CPA professional exams are embedded into our Masters program. So many other Masters of Professional Accounting programs, once you finish the program, you still need to go and sit 6 of the professional CPA examinations separately from your qualification. We've embedded those examinations into our program, and we have a very strong relationship with CPA Australia, which means graduates can look for jobs in accounting in New Zealand and Australia when they graduate. I'm just going to move along. In the Talk Masters space, we're offering some merit scholarships, and we just highlighted the value of the merit scholarships with the programs. On the left is more the science type programs have a merit scholarship of 7,000, and on the right it's more our sort of business type programs have a merit scholarship to the value of 10,000. Now, students do not need to apply for scholarship. All scholarships are assessed on application. So when a student puts in an application to study the program, they're assessed to see do they meet the entry criteria, and they're also assessed to see do they meet the criteria for scholarship. Now, the criteria for scholarship is just a B average in the final year of their bachelor degree. So a B plus average is what we're looking for. So it's a B average for entry, B plus average for scholarship. Now, on their conditional offer, if they meet the entry requirement and they meet the scholarship requirement, this will be reflected on their conditional offer to say, yes, if you come to Lincoln to study this program, you will receive the Talk Masters Merit Scholarship to the value of either 7,000 or 10,000. And just moving along, I'm not talking about research masters, but I think what you're probably more interested in is around the doctorate, the PhD program, and we have a Colombian at the moment studying PhD here at Lincoln. So all PhD applicants qualify for domestic fees in New Zealand. Now, the domestic fee is around about 7,500 New Zealand dollars. When the students start the PhD, out of that $7,500, they will receive back a $2,000 research stipend to go towards their research. And even though on our website it may say that we have a PhD program, if you see down there in the areas of study, we can deliver a PhD program in all of these areas. It's not just a doctorate of philosophy. We do agriculture, we do environmental management, policy, landscape, commerce, agribusiness, food innovation. Any specific topic within those realms, we can provide a PhD. Now, a PhD, it's a research PhD, so there's the expectation that the student has done probably a minimum of 6 months, but more likely 1 year, of a research master's. And we would need to see an abstract from their thesis and their application with that. Now, also for the PhD, we're looking for students with a GPA of around what we'd say a B plus or 75% or more from their master's degree. Again, my suggestion around PhDs in terms of application is you submit the documentation. We're more than happy, as we know those sort of applications are coming through. Then it's up to the applicant to find the supervisor. Now, I can, if I know about applications coming through, assist in some instances to give you a heads up who the supervisor potentially is, and whether there's a good opportunity for supervision at that time. Once the application has been assessed, it's then sent to the faculty to find potential supervisor. But what a student can do is submit an application, but at the same time reach out to potential supervisors. And then they can get an email confirmation from a supervisor that they're willing to supervise them, we send that back to the admissions team, and they can update to the conditional offer straight away. Because if you wait, once you submit the application and not action trying to find a supervisor, it can take a long time. Now, a fast-track PhD, if we're lucky, we could get an offer maybe done in 3 weeks. Otherwise, it could take 2 to 3 months to get through to an offer and to secure a supervisor. But the beauty with a PhD is the student can start the program once they have agreement with their supervisor. They can start the program any month of the year, so they're not restricted to our February and July intakes. They can start any month as long as the supervisor and the student have agreed that this month is the month that they're both happy for the PhD to start. So I'm just going to move along, and we're going to jump back to the fees. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but just to give you an idea, these are all in New Zealand dollars. Some minor scholarships along the right-hand column. But obviously with the doctorate is by far the most cost-effective there. And to note that there is a compulsory insurance and student levy that all students need to pay on an annual basis as well. So even at the undergraduate, we have some small scholarships, but I know probably from the South American point of view, bachelor degrees, because of the fees, are maybe not so popular. It's more aiming at that postgraduate market. And I'm just going to move along. And just talking about more detail about those types of scholarships that are available. But I think the key scholarship is around that Taught Masters scholarship, which is a value of $7,000 to $10,000 assessed on application. And the further study awards as well, which I think is worth mentioning and probably can raise with you guys now, because we've just got confirmation that this has been extended to postgrad as well. So this actually makes the pathway visa that Patrick talked about earlier are probably more attractive. So basically, students that enroll in our undergraduate program in the English for Further Study Awards, so if they go the EAP program and then they move into our pre-degree or bachelor degree program, if they've done a minimum of 12 weeks English language, they can get that equivalent of fees rebated off the price of the bachelor program or the pre-degree program. We've now extended that to postgraduate. So 12 weeks of English language, I think, is about $5,040 for face-to-face tuition. So if they do their 12 weeks, pass the internal test, then they go into, say, a taught masters program. That taught masters program, if they qualify for the $10,000 scholarship, they'll get that $10,000 scholarship, plus they'll get another $5,000 off because of the English language rebate. So I think that makes it quite attractive. Even though they have to pay for the English language up front, as long as they pass the course and move into the university program, they will get that $5,000 rebate. If they have to study more than 12 weeks, the rebate is only limited to the 12 weeks. So if they study 16 weeks, they'll only get a rebate valued at 12 weeks. Okay, I hope that's quite clear. Again, I'm just keen to finish this up and have some questions from you guys. Just some very basic information here. All students studying in our programs as full-time students get equivalent part-time work rights and full-time work rights during the holidays. Post-study work rights are eligible up to 3 years. As I said, like the taught masters, the research masters, PhD, and the Bachelor all qualify for that 3-year post-study work right visa. The minimum wage in New Zealand at the moment is $20 an hour. That's even working at McDonald's. And I've just put some sites there that may be of interest. But I think the key thing too, just to mention, so if students do start their study online, they need to spend at least 2 semesters of study on campus at Lincoln to then be able to qualify for the post-study work rights. So if they are studying a taught masters, they could possibly do the first semester online, but they can't do more than that if they want to come to New Zealand and get post-study work rights. So we have students at the moment in that situation where they're just maybe doing one paper and doing part-time. So hopefully when the borders open and when they come to New Zealand, they'll just have 2 semesters of their taught masters to complete. And I think that sort of concludes the presentation, but I also just wanted to give you guys just a really brief update on what we know about borders and about our COVID situation. So at the moment, we don't have certainty as to when our borders are going to open. The government's very much focused on vaccinating the population. That's their key priority at the moment. We have a small outbreak of COVID in Auckland. There has been no COVID in the South Island. Even though we had to go into lockdown, there were no cases, there were no COVID cases in the South Island. We're out of lockdown now, we're back on campus. We are hoping that some students will be able to return in July of 2022. New Zealand Immigration have said they will not be processing any offshore visas until February the 6th, 2022. So we know that that is going to discount our February intake. It's going to be too short of a turnaround to get, because our intake will start maybe 2 weeks after that. It's going to be too tight to get visas approved in order to get students here for February. But our English language can start just about any month. So there is some flexibility there. If borders can open after February, that could be a good starting point for students. That I would say, though, immigration would look more highly at students that have a path or are applying for a pathway visa, not just students studying English only at that point. We're hoping by July that borders will be a little bit more flexible and students will be able to return, but definitely by 2023. We're just hopeful that by July we'll be able to welcome back more students. But in saying that, if it's post-July, PhD students and EAP students can join any month. So we're not restricted by those hard sort of locked-in semester intake dates. And I know that a lot of students, maybe from Columbia, will be looking for some sort of English language program prior to starting, particularly postgraduate. So as I said, with our fee rebate for English language and our Taught Masters Scholarship, I'm hoping that there'll be some, some attraction there from the market. Okay, so that really concludes the presentation. Just a lovely shot of our Southern Alps there. A key attraction for a lot of our students that come to New Zealand and particularly come to the South Island is really the natural beauty that we have on offer for students, because I kind of like to think of you're coming here for an education, but you've also got to spend maybe 1, 2, 3 years of your life here. So I think that the life experience on the whole, study and out of study, is really important as well. And I think we have a really natural and clean and green type of image here. I think we've got a great offering. So look, I'm just going to finish up on that and look forward to answering any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julian. Really appreciate your presentation as well as Patrick's. I do have several questions over WhatsApp here. There were a few agents, around 5 or 6 agents that couldn't join but are sending us their questions through, while we allow our attendees here to send some questions. First question is about English admissions or English entry requirements. And the question is Duolingo accepted for admission into either bachelor's or master's degrees?
Duolingo, is it?
Yeah, Duolingo.
Yeah. I might get Patrick to answer that, but I'm pretty sure it's not. It's been discussed, but I think it's not acceptable.
Yeah, it's been discussed. It is Duolingo is not accepted. It's not accepted at Lincoln at the moment, but we do accept IELTS, IBT, PTE, and other English language tests. Yeah. And for most of our postgraduate courses, the English language requirement will be IELTS 6.5 and no band under 6.0, except for our graduate diploma in commerce. Okay, so for graduate diploma in commerce, the English requirement is IELTS 6.0. So it's slightly lower than the postgraduate English language requirements.
Okay, awesome. Another question that I have here from a different agent is about the practical work, and the agent is asking whether that experience is a paid or unpaid one.
Oh, Julian?
Yeah. So it depends on program. As I said, practical work is a requirement for a number of programs, and Lincoln is quite renowned for its applied learning and experiential learning, and practical work really just sort of adds to that. In some courses, definitely it's paid. And then in other courses, it's not necessarily paid. It's really up to the luck of the student, that because they still need the practical work. They don't get a grade in terms of a physical grade for the practical work, but it is a requirement to complete their program. So they must show completion of that practical work before they can graduate. So in some cases, they may be forced to do it on a voluntary basis, but in most cases, employers, particularly if it's a farming type related practical work, are more than happy to provide some sort of financial reimbursement for students.
Excellent. Thank you, Julian. The other question, and this one is for Patrick, it's about English studies, and would be about whether the classes for EAP, the online classes, the distance mode, would be live or would be recorded?
It will be live. So there are live Zoom sessions, and I don't think they will be recorded. So they're not recorded, so there will be live sessions.
Okay, great. Can you also mention the cost of the EAP programs, especially the distance mode?
Yeah. So for our EAP course, it will be $450 New Zealand dollars per week, and of course our minimum enrollment is 12 weeks, so that will be about 5,400. But for English language remote learning, we are doing a 20% discount on that for online English. So there'll be 360 New Zealand dollars per week for online English.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Next question would be for Julian. Julian, this is about finances. How much would be the deposit amount for a student enrolling into, and here we have two scenarios, English plus a master degree and just a master degree?
Okay, no, thanks, David. Yeah, this is I think is quite important. And I think if you do English plus, you pay for the English language. So say, for example, you enroll, we will pre-assess students before they start the English language program. So we'll pre-test them. We'll say to them, you need X amount of weeks to meet the mark. So whether it's 12 weeks, 16 weeks, whatever it may be, if you finish earlier than that time frame, you get refunded. So we will make an assessment, and if you turn up and you're actually better and faster, you won't lose money. So for example, if it's English language plus masters, say the masters works out, say you get scholarship for the masters and it works out to be 33,000 for the 3-semester program, and you need another 5,400 for English language, you'd pay your 5,400. We would do a pathway visa, which would give you the visa that would cover the duration of the masters and the English language program. So you only need to pay 5,400 to get visa. Once you're on campus and you start the master's program, then you only need to pay semester by semester. You don't need to pay that 33,000 up front. So you could say divide that by 3, you pay semester by semester. So that's financially a little bit easier on the student. But if you say, oh, I've already got the English language requirement, I'm coming straight to do a taught masters. Now this is where I think immigration is going to set an expectation. So if you're doing, say, a taught masters, immigration will be expecting you to pay for the first 2 semesters up front. So again, if your fees worked out to being you got the scholarship, so you got your $10,000 scholarship, so your total fee for the 3-semester program was $33,000, immigration would be expecting you paid for 2/3 of that. So that would be around $22,000 to get your visa for 1 year. Then you would need to renew your visa for the last semester. We can provide assistance on campus to do that, but it just makes it a bit more awkward. So that's why I think coming in on English language is the pathway visa is so much more appealing. And remember, once you finish the English language with us, we're going to rebate that off your master's tuition fee. So say you had to pay your 33,000, you get another 5,000 off. So it's like you get the English language component free, but you're paying for it in advance, if that makes sense. So yes. For us, the university is happy to accept payment semester by semester, but we know from experience with immigration that they will expect a student to probably pay for the first year of tuition up front in order for them to, no hassles, no problem, issue the student visa.
Okay. That's great. And definitely, I agree with you, Julian. It makes better sense for students to enroll in the package mode rather than going direct. Even if they have the required English level, it's better for them to just do a reinforcement over there to get accustomed to the various different types of tones and the overall being on the overall English language speaking day to day in New Zealand as well.
And can I just sort of add in, talking about finances, we find a lot of our students don't have problem getting part-time jobs in the hospitality sector. $20 an hour, they can normally clock up enough hours to cover their living cost on a weekly basis. So when they apply, immigration is probably wanting to see living costs up front. When they arrive, a lot of them have no trouble within those first couple of weeks finding that part-time job that then is going to basically cover their living costs, so they won't need to draw down on that money they had to show in order to get living costs approved.
Great, thanks, Julian. This one is for Patrick about the English program, and it relates to whether agents can just sell the English language program either on distance mode or on-site when that is possible, as well as the package program that we just discussed.
Yeah, I think, well, definitely you can just sell the English language program by itself, but I guess as students mentioned before, I guess if the students are planning to, move on to a academic program later, it's always good to apply as a package. But if they just want to sort of, study English by itself, yes, I think they can definitely do that. And just one thing to mention too, our English language division is now offering a free trial class for our online English language program. So we can send you the details later on that. And then, so you will be able to invite any of your students who are interested in studying English language online and just go into a half-hour trial session and just have a look and see what learning English online is like. And then you can decide whether the students wants to enroll into an online program. So I can send you, David, I think we can send you the invitation link later. And then you can pass on to the agents.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
And last question about the distance mode EAP program, Patrick. How would agents be measuring the actual level that the student would have at the present time, so that they can configure, say that the student needs 2 modules or 3 modules or just 1 module? Do you have access, or do agents have access to a placement test that they can apply offshore to measure the English level that the student is exhibiting at that time?
Yes, so our English language department will be able to do an online test with the student, and so that we can assess, approximately how many modules the student would need to get to PhD, for example. Yeah, so we can do that fully online, and the test will mainly be around reading and writing. Maybe just a 5-minute quick sort of conversation, just to assess on the speaking and listening, but it will be mainly on reading and writing.
Okay,
and
great.
It will take about, I don't know, about 2 hours-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, for the test.
Okay, great. Thank you, Patrick. And we have a final question for Julian, quite a tricky one. I know that you have already mentioned some information about COVID and the current COVID status in New Zealand, as well as border reopening. But agents are asking here on the Q&A button that if you can further on any information that you might have about when potentially borders would be reopened.
Yeah, it's a real hard one, David. We are still waiting for direction from the government. They haven't really engaged with the education sector and given sort of a clear strategy for reopening. We know definitely semester 1 will not be happening. So that is February 2021 will be closed, because immigration will only just be starting back up again. And that will take time. We are hopeful that we could see something for July. I don't think it would be like a full intake. But I think for the main intakes in terms of master's programs, in terms of bachelor programs, it's probably going to be February 23. But in saying that, there is opportunity for PhD to start earlier, and through English language can start online if they wish. They will still get the rebate as well if they're coming through. So they're investing money up front, they get their money back later. But we're hoping, see, the issue in New Zealand is there's a big push to get everybody vaccinated. That is the government's key priority at the moment. It should have been the priority 6 months ago, but they've just decided now that is the priority that they're going to do. And they are scrambling to get more vaccines and to get people vaccinated. Hopefully, we will have a good outcome by Christmas. And then I think by Christmas, we will know clear whether July will be possible or not for a big intake, or it may be limited. And again, even though we are, once we're say 70, 80% vaccinated, they may look at different countries differently in terms of how they are handling the COVID situation. So for example, if Colombia is doing very well and has very minimal COVID outbreak and is well vaccinated, maybe they will get a green light to come to New Zealand. Again, if they're not doing well and our borders are open, they may not get a green light. So we don't know. We're guessing at the moment because they haven't been very clear with the industry as to what is the plan. I think because things are still quite fluid. Like, 4 or 5 weeks ago, we never thought we'd have another outbreak of COVID in New Zealand, but now we have had a small outbreak in Auckland. So we don't know what's around the corner, and I think the government is still quite conscious about not playing its cards too early. And vaccination is very much the focus at the moment. I'm assuming that anybody that can come to New Zealand, there will be a requirement that they have to be fully vaccinated. I'm pretty sure that will be a requirement. Again, the government has not told us that, but I'm pretty sure that will be the case. It's really just a watch and see at the moment. We're very frustrated. We would like them just to tell us when it can happen, so then we can plan and strategize for that. But yeah, it's tough. It's
like
tough.
you said, the situation is still pretty fluid. So yeah.
Many businesses are screaming out for more migrant workers. We would like to see more international students coming back who are fully vaccinated. We don't see any problems with that, but the government has a different view on things. And I think what the government is really doing is watching everybody else and then deciding on which strategy to take. How well are these people doing? Let's watch them for a month or two, see if it's successful or not, and then they will follow. That's my thinking. There's a lot of frustration in New Zealand around the uncertainty of what the future holds. There's a lot of frustration with the government. Even though they're keeping us safe, businesses are falling over. It's kind of tough. And I don't know about the Colombia situation. I have no idea about that. But yeah, it's a really crazy time. It still goes on. We're 18 months into this. It's still continuing.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your views and your take on the situation on the COVID and on the border reopenings in New Zealand. Really appreciate that, Julian. And with that, I think we have come to the end of our session this afternoon. Thank you so much to all of our agents. Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Patrick, for your insights and for teaching and presenting us with this valuable information on what makes so special Lincoln University in New Zealand. We will engage with you again very, very soon, and I will be chatting with all of you, our agents in the region, during these coming days. Thank you so much, and have a great evening. Have a wonderful rest of the day in New Zealand. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks, David, and thanks, everybody, for coming along.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.